Welcome back to the Flip Talk podcast. It's episode 7, and it's your boy KUDOS. We have a special guest today, Yasmin. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you. How are
Yes,
you?
yes. I'm excited to have you on. You know, we've been working on the schedule, trying to make time, so I appreciate you making time for us. But I do want to apologize. My co-host is running late. He might join us. He might not come to this podcast, so we'll figure it out from based off what he says. So I want to apologize in advance for that. but
It's
um,
okay.
but yeah, it's been a while since high school. How you been?
It has, yeah. Just been really busy with, work and life.
Yeah, I know it's crazy. Like how growing up, your parents tell you like time flies by, like you actually see it for yourself, and like holy crap, it's been how long since high school? Like almost like 10 years now.
I know.
It's crazy to
Time
even think about.
it is crazy.
Yeah, so
I agree.
so there's so much to talk about, but I want to start like where you grew up. So are you originally from New York? Like
Yes,
okay, so
I
what
am.
borough?
Queens.
Queens. Okay, okay. So how do you end up in Randolph? Because Queens is a long way from Harlem.
It is a long way from Harlem. I guess I just wanted something different. Like I always grew up like my schools were always near me, like
Hmm.
walking distance, and I
Yeah.
just wanted to go somewhere different and somewhere a little far where I could have like a little bit of independence because I grew
Hmm.
up with a strict mom. So
Oh yeah.
that's
The
how.
yeah the strict parent just like walk you to school type of thing or
Yeah, basically.
yeah. Okay. I do you think it's like a little different when it comes to like when you're a girl versus being a guy? Because I feel like when you're a guy, you'll get a little bit of leeway when it comes to like strict parents.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Because I have a brother, and like my mom
Hmm.
was more calm with him, and with me, it was always like she was always on me. But my brother was like, yeah, he's a guy, he can do what he wants. And for me, it was like,
Gotcha.
well, you're a girl, you know, you just can't do anything you want,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
It's
But
kind of
yeah.
like a fragile thing, right?
Yeah, it is a fragile thing. Well,
so
I understand though, but you don't
so
understand as a kid.
yeah, exactly. You're just kind of like, oh, nothing's gonna happen, but then when you become an adult, you're like, oh, something could have happened, right? So
Yeah.
you can't really get mad at them. But how was your high school experience? How like did you enjoy it? What was the like?
Mm.
What was it like that kept you? Well, answer the question first. Did you like it? Like,
I like my high school experience.
yeah. Okay. Okay. So I know you did a little bit of swimming. I have a questions about that because I personally never done any like I've never been on a swimming team or just done anything swimming competitively. So explain that experience, explain practice, and just like what you enjoyed about it.
I just enjoyed swimming. I don't know what like it was, but ever since I was little, like I always wanted to learn how to swim, but I
Hmm.
didn't have like those resources. Like, my mom couldn't take me to like the swimming pool and be like, "All right, you're gonna learn how to swim." So I actually
Yeah.
learned how to swim while I was in the swimming team. So I think that's pretty
Nice.
cool that that happened. Um, it was pretty hard. We had to do like so many laps. The coach Penny, I remember he was really nice and he was a little bit strict, but overall I really did enjoy it.
Okay. Okay. So what did practice look like? Like was it after school and how many hours approximately?
Yeah, it was after school and it was probably about 2 hours. Yeah, about 2 hours.
Okay. So how did it work when you guys had? I don't know if it's called meets because I know in track is like meets. So I don't. So how was it when you like went competitively against another school? Like how would they set that up? Was it like based off like male female or was it like based off just who's the fastest swimmer?
I actually don't remember.
It's all good.
It's so long ago. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I really don't remember.
Mhm.
But yeah, I honestly I don't remember. But it was meets. We called it meets.
Okay.
So meets. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Cool. So I remember there was a lot of people like in that swimming group. So how was it? How was the interaction? Like, do you guys like practice together or kind of like male female or was it like separated?
Oh, we practiced together. It wasn't separated male female, but it was like the swim meets. Yes, it was like the girls season and then the male season. But overall, we did practice together.
Okay, cool, cool. All right, so what do you take out of that, like on a competitive nature or just like work ethic?
Um, I I would say that it really made me like enjoy, being able to compete, even though like, there was like probably numerous times when sometimes we didn't win, but I wouldn't take it as a like I wouldn't take it as a loss. I would just take it as a like learning experience. Like, okay, we didn't win, but it's okay. Like,
Yeah,
it taught me not to give up. So
I could
that's what
I could definitely relate to that because I feel like you have to learn how to lose and you have to
yeah.
understand you can't always win. You want to win every time, but it's part of life, right? Like you take wins, but you also take L's, right? So
Yes.
okay, so let's go a little bit into after high school, you go into college. So tell me a little bit about your college experience and your ups and downs.
Yeah, of course. So like I started college out of like community college. Um, it wasn't going that well, and I actually ended up like dropping out. I stopped going to college for like maybe 2 to 3 years. And then I realized that I didn't want to be a college dropout, and I realized that I do enjoy like learning and like, going to school. So I decided to like, you know, get back to it, and eventually I did. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, but eventually I figured it out. So I graduated with
Yeah.
a bachelor's degree in psychology, and yeah, it wasn't easy though. It was pretty tough because I also had to work
Yeah.
and go to school, so it was pretty tough.
What motivated you to go back? Because I feel like for a lot of people, like when you kind of give up on it or you drop out, or you're just it. Most people don't go back. So it's like, what pushed you? Was it like somebody that pushed you to get back into school, or was it something that you realized while you were working, maybe, where you're just like, oh, I don't want to do this. So like, what was that motivation for you?
So I would say it was like while working jobs, I was working different jobs and I didn't like it. It was just like, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. I don't want to be jumping from one job to another. And, sometimes like the jobs, it's not the best
Yeah.
and you don't get treated well. And also, I just like realized like I don't want to be like this for the rest of my life. So I started thinking about my future. And my mom also motivated me too. Like she was just like of course she was upset when I didn't go to college, but she was the one that pushed me like, you need to think about your future. You need to do something. So
Definitely.
that was like the push and the motivation that I needed.
Definitely. So, what was different the second time around? So it's like, this is you're going back to school, and it's like nothing changed. School. That's like the same criteria. So, what was it for you that made it easier the second time around?
Mm, Well, I wouldn't say it was easy, but I would say that just knowing that like when I did stop going, I didn't really take it as serious. And then when I finally did go back, I would always think to myself like, hey, I don't want to drop out again. Like even no matter how hard it gets, like I'm just gonna have to keep pushing. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Definitely. So did you go back to the same school or was it a different school?
I went back to the same school, but then I ended up graduating with my associates, and then I was able to transfer to a four-year college. And I
Nice,
ended up in Queens College. And
nice,
from
nice.
there, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, okay. It was probably convenient being closer to home, right? Where like the
Yes,
commute and everything. Yeah. How was
it
the
was.
how was the commute for you? Like in like basically in high school because I know you were going from like Queens all the way to Harlem. So how was that for you?
It was a pretty far commute, but I guess
Yeah.
I was okay with it just because I know that I knew that I wanted to go somewhere far and somewhere different, so I just had to like suck it up.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So.
So so what was your mindset like coming out of college? I feel like a lot of people graduate, but then they realize that it's more to than just getting getting your bachelor's, right? Like, you have to find a job. You have to sometimes you have to know people to get you into a job. So how was that transition for you, um, coming out of college?
Well, I would say that it was pretty tough actually,
Hmm.
so I started off with like I was very proud of myself. Like I was like, yes, I did it, I graduated, but then I was like, oh, now what? Like now what do I do? So
Exactly.
I started panicking. I'm like, okay, so I have this degree, but now I don't know what to do with it. So I started panicking, but then I was like, okay, let me like try to figure this out. And I ended up trying to like look for jobs, but at this point, like I was just trying to find a job, just trying to get hired somewhere, especially because like, you graduate college and like you need experience and you don't have the experience that they're asking you for. Like some companies ask for like 3 to 5 years of experience. And like I'm a recent college graduate and I don't have 3 to 5 years. So I applied to anywhere and I ended up getting hired, but it wasn't like the best income.
Okay.
But I had to just like, okay, again, let me just do it, so I can gain the experience and then be able to apply somewhere else.
Okay. Cool. So what field are you currently working in?
I'm currently a lead teacher.
Nice. So, what age group are you working with?
I'm working with first graders, so they're like around 6 to 7 years old.
Yes. Okay. Cool. Cool. So I had Karina on. She went to Randolph as well. You know her, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So she it seemed like she was working with older kids, compared to first graders. So what do you think is different between like working with younger kids, or what do you like about working with young kids versus, I would say, like a high school level or a middle school even?
Well, I've never worked with like the older kids,
Hmm.
but working with younger kids is just amazing. Like the little kids, they're so sweet and like, they'll humble you real quick.
Yeah.
Like
Very.
they're so honest. So like,
Yeah.
if you want someone to be 100% honest with you, little kids they're the ones that are going to tell you the truth.
And they're probably around
So,
that age frame where they're like, but why? But why? Like, they just keep asking why, and it's like sometimes it gets to a point where you don't have the answer. So,
yeah.
so
Yeah.
how's it being patient with them? Like, how do you feel? Like, is it hard? Is it something that comes naturally to you?
I would say it is a bit hard, but for me, I guess it's something that just comes naturally. You do have to have a lot of patience, especially because they're little kids, they're learning, they're looking up to you, like they're depending on you to help them with everything. So it is a lot of patience.
Okay, and are do you currently like receive assistance to help you out with these kids? Like, do you have an assistant teacher with you?
Well, I don't have an assistant teacher, but I do have a
Mm.
co-teacher.
Okay.
So it's nice because it's like, it's 50-50 of like the work.
How big is like the class, like, student wise?
About 28 students.
About 28. Okay. Is
Hmm.
that is that about average?
Yeah, I think that's about average,
Hmm.
at least for at my school. I don't know about other schools because I know I've heard other teachers that went to different schools
Hmm.
and they talk about how like, oh, like they've had like 30, 34 kids in a classroom. So I'm not sure if that's how like other schools are, but like the school that I'm at, every classroom is maximum of 28 kids.
Okay. So, what's the biggest challenge? Because I feel like when you go into any field, you may have an idea. Even coming out of school, you may have an idea of what you're gonna do, but you won't truly know until you're actually doing the job. So, like, what is that one thing for you that you found out once you started working?
Well, I guess my biggest challenge was lesson planning. I think it was just like, you just always have to be like 100% prepared, but then like, you create the lesson plans and it doesn't always go according to how you plan it because there's, a kid might have an accident or, something might just happen in the classroom that you're just never prepared for sometimes. Or like you just have to be like, you have to think quick and you have to act fast. So that's definitely something that's pretty tough.
Okay, so let's back off a little bit from your career and just like, what are, now that you're out of college and you're working your career job, what do you do for yourself? Like you, I feel like you have to have a balance of work and life. Some people, they like to vacation, some people like to find little hobbies to do in between where it's like easy for them to manage their time. So it's like, what is that one thing for you that you currently do to just make you happy aside from work and to keep your mind kind of at peace?
Mhm. Well, something that I've like just recently started doing is working out. So like I work
Nice.
out at least 5 days a week, and it's something that like I'm actually really proud of myself because
Nice.
I've always wanted to work out and be consistent, and I never was. But for the first time, I've been pretty consistent with working out. So that's something that I picked up to
Yeah.
just like de-stress me and just like something that I actually enjoy doing.
Yeah. One thing I remember about you from high school was I think I met you through Catherine. It was through Catherine, right? I think it was through Catherine Rodriguez,
I
or
honestly, I do
yeah,
not remember.
yeah. It was through her or Ashley, one of the two. And shout outs to them, right? But
Yeah.
I just remember you always being like very positive and like bubbly, like because like one good memory I had was like when we graduated, like I just remember you being very hyped that day. Like that's just the one vivid memory I have. So it's like, I'm I just feel like that, putting that together with like kind of like your goal, of just working out, like I could see it going hand in hand, because when you work out, you have to go with a positive mindset into it, right? So
Yeah.
it's hard work. It's a lot of dedication. Just getting home and
Mhm.
changing or eating something, and it's just knowing that you have to like go to the gym, drive there, take the train, the bus, whatever you do. Like it takes time, right?
Yeah.
So what are you doing with your schedule to kind of help you with that?
Oh, I go literally right after work. That's
Mm,
the way like I maintain like, consistent. I go right after work because I know that I like, get out of work, go home, and then I know I'm not gonna go right back out. So I go straight after work. That's the way I keep it
okay.
consistent.
Yes. What's your favorite thing to do at the gym?
My favorite thing to do at the gym is jump squats.
Nice. Nice. Okay. Okay. How well, so you told me what your favorite part is, but like, how do you find the gym atmosphere? Because I feel like the gym you go to plays a big role, right? So it's like
Yes.
if you're going to like Planet Fitness or versus going to Gold's Gym, like it's a very different vibe, right? So
Yeah. Well, my gym is it's not like a Planet Fitness or a Blink. It's
mm,
more of it's a classes. Like you
mm,
go, you sign up for the class
oh nice,
and there's like a trainer and then you work out with like other people. So it's not just me by myself. You work out with other people, they put music and there's like a trainer that's like showing you the
nice,
moves and then everyone's doing the moves at the same time.
cool,
So that's probably why I like the gym I go to instead of going to like a gym like Planet Fitness or Blink.
cool, cool.
Because yeah,
Okay, okay, yeah, that's cool. So it's more of like a, like kind of like a dancing kind of Zumba vibe, right? Where everybody's kind of
something like that. Except
along
it's
those
not
lines.
dancing; it's working out. But
Yeah, just kind
yeah,
of it's intense. It's intense. You're like, don't take away
yes,
from it.
it is. It is intense. It is. It's very intense. I remember my first day I went. I was just like I wanted to give up,
Yeah,
but I
and
kept pushing.
and then on top of that, it's not only just physically going to the gym, right? It's also like eating habits. Like I think that's the
Yes.
hardest part for most
Hmm.
people, just maintaining like a healthy diet, because sometimes you want to spoil yourself and like you want to eat bad. You know it's horrible for you, but so how's that for you? Like the eating habits or
I try to like balance it out for myself, especially because I know that like in the past where I've tried to like, do diets, but diets really don't work out because you actually end up overeating.
right?
So I try to like make sure like I eat my portions of what I want to eat, and then if I want to have like a little sweet, like I allow myself. I do not limit myself, and I don't tell myself you're not allowed to have that because then I'm gonna want it more, and then I'm gonna overeat, and I don't want that to happen. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. That's cool. That's cool. So, is there anything else you do on your spare time aside from like going to the gym?
I like to read sometimes. It's always like it's always nice when I have time to read because I actually have like just like with work, it's so keeps me
Hmm.
so busy. So I like to read sometimes, or I like to swim,
Nice.
and I also like to go on walks with my dog.
Cool. Cool. So,
Yeah.
how do you kind of balance swimming? Like, is there like a open pool kind of thing you go to, or because they say like swimming is one of the best workouts because you're working on all like your whole body, right? So,
Yeah.
like for somebody who doesn't know where to just go and have a pool, like access to a pool, like maybe you want to explain that a little bit.
Yeah, so it's actually my
Oh,
gym
nice.
has a pool. So,
Oh, that's convenient.
yeah.
There you go. Okay, okay,
That's
okay,
why.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So how about vacationing? Because I know you're always like posting photos on Instagram. You're always out and about. So let's talk about vacationing a little bit. That's kind of one of my passions as well.
Mhm.
So tell me a little bit about it. Where have you been? Where do you want to go? And share like a cool story maybe of a vacation you went on.
So I haven't like I've been to like Cancun and
Nice.
Dominican Republic
Hmm.
and what else have I been? Um I've been to like different states as well. Like I like to do a lot of weekend trips just to like um de-stress myself sometimes. And weekend trips is usually like quick and
Hmm.
short, but it's still fun. Definitely an experience I had was when I went to Cancun and I got to swim with the dolphins. That was a really fun experience.
Nice, nice. Yeah. I haven't been to Cancun yet, but I heard really good things about it. Apparently the water is beautiful out there. I did go to
Yeah.
Turks and Caicos, and it was
Oh,
beautiful
nice.
out there. Like it looked out of a movie. Like I never seen like clear water like that. Like when I went to Dominican Republic, like the water is pretty nice out there, but you can't compare it to Turks and Caicos. Like it was insane. Like
Wow.
like I
Yeah,
definitely recommend it.
yeah. I would love to go to Greece actually. I haven't been to
Greece.
Greece.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Greece. What about Greece? Like, do you want to visit like kind of like landmarks?
I guess it's just Um, I would say just like it looks different, the landmark, and it's just a place that like I never really thought of the why. I just always wanted to go to Greece.
Gotcha. Yeah, sometimes that's what it takes. It's just like you see something, you see some type of video on Instagram, you're just like, "Ah, I gotta go there." So,
Yeah.
but the Greece is definitely like a popular place to visit. So I'm sure it's good to
Yeah.
have on your list. Okay, okay. So what goals do you have for yourself? Like, now that you're in your career, it creates that space for you to start thinking about the future, right? So, what's something you have in mind, or something maybe you would like to do down the line?
Well, I guess I would say I would like to like I'm currently working on my master's degree. So I just I wanna finish my master's, which is pretty soon actually, and just try to like work with students with disabilities and just like be able to work in a school where it's like you're just working with like a small population of kids.
Definitely. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of a need for teachers within that field of this like disability students. So I think it's great. And what drove you to that passion? Like, did you experience maybe certain students you had with disabilities? Like, what drew you to it?
Was a teacher assistant in a different school, and I worked with a lot of autistic kids, and I don't know what it was about the kids. I just like really enjoyed working with them. I enjoyed whenever they made progress. Like it was just a really nice feeling to see them keep growing. So I wanted to like pursue that type of career. And I was only at the time I was only a teacher assistant. Um, I wasn't I wasn't a lead teacher at the time, but yeah.
Okay, cool, cool. All right, that's cool. I mean, yeah, for sure. I feel like sometimes just the experience itself is kind of what drives you to it. But you know, like these kids are so smart, but it's like so innocent at the same time. So I get where that comes from for sure. But okay. So what else you got planned for your future?
I've me like me and my friends like we used to like think we wanna like we wish we could like open up a school where like
Mhm.
classes could be smaller, like there won't be like a huge number of kids in a classroom just because like something that I've like realized that it's pretty tough trying to attend to all the kids when there's so many students in the classroom and then there's so many students that have different learning styles. Like every kid has a different learning style.
Mhm.
And of course, as a teacher, you have to always find ways to adjust and like, the way you're teaching. But sometimes it's just, it becomes difficult sometimes. But sometimes I just think to myself, like, I wish I could open up a school where it's just like, classes are smaller and like, we're able to focus more like on the kids and maybe they'll have like a better education if, you know, classroom sizes were smaller. But maybe I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just thinking sometimes it seems like, impossible.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, a lot of work goes into it, right? But
Yeah.
I feel like the first part to maybe opening a school, like correct me if I'm wrong, but it's kind of like wanting to run things your own way, right? So I had a
Yeah.
similar conversation when Karina came on, and you know, that's something that she had on her bucket list as well, opening a school at some point. So, and I feel like what drove her was just kind of like the knowledge she picked up throughout, you know, being in the field and kind of knowing the structure of how you want to run your school, right? So is that like what is that similar to you as well, where you know how you want to run your school and you see like the flaws within the education system where you're like, I need to correct these things.
It's a bit similar, but I haven't like fully, fully like thought about it like
Hmm.
100%. So like I don't like it's a thought that I've had, yes, but it's not something that like I don't I need to obviously do more research and more information to like fully understand the whole process because I know the process is definitely not easy. So
Definitely. Okay, okay. I respect that. So you have goals, you know, you have your career going. How's everything with your family? Like, how's everybody doing?
yeah, everyone's good,
Hmm.
thankfully.
Hmm.
Everyone's safe, everyone's um they're safe. That's what matters.
Yeah, definitely. Especially like after everything we've been experiencing with like the pandemic and everything's been crazy, right? So it's kind of like
Yes.
you gotta be grateful for
Hmm.
everybody sticking
Yeah.
around, right?
Yeah.
So, do you see yourself having kids? I'm guessing you're gonna say yes because you know you're a teacher. So I hope you like kids, but let's who knows?
Yeah, of course. I love kids, of course.
Mhm.
I don't see myself having kids anytime soon,
Mhm.
you know. Yeah.
Okay, what was a good age for you to see yourself having kids? Like
Um, I would say like maybe like 33,
33.
34, 35,
Mm-hmm.
around that age.
You gotta live a little,
Yeah.
right? Vacation, and enjoy your partner, get to know them better, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like there's a whole nother level to starting a family, like from
Yeah.
just dating and you know even like getting to a point of like marriage. I feel like it's a whole different ball game to like live with the person, but also have a little person running around, right?
Yeah, yeah. I just think about it as like it's a huge responsibility, So it's just like I want to be like 100% mentally prepared to be able to take care of another human being
Yeah.
because it's again, it's a lot of responsibility. So,
What's
yeah.
your biggest worry of like becoming a parent? Like, what's that one thing that scares you every time you think about it?
My biggest worry, I would say, is that like, you don't get to pick and choose your
Mhm.
kid. And like I don't want to be a bad parent. I just, want to make sure that I'm raising my kid the right way, or just like I know that like being a parent is not easy at all. But I guess I just don't want to like, you know, mess them up.
Yeah.
Just like that's just like, my biggest worry. I don't want to fuck up.
I think the fear of being a bad parent is probably what motivates you to be a good parent. Like that's kind of what drives you, right? So it's like you knowing that you have the power to mess up, right? That kind of leads into like you being a better parent. And it's kind of like you learn as you go. Nobody like truly is ready to become a parent. You may have an
Yeah.
idea of what a good parent looks like, right? Like looking at your parents or something, but you truly won't know until you're experiencing it. You're like changing diapers and you're waking up in the middle of the night, losing sleep, right? So it's like those things that truly turn into a parent. So, okay, cool. How many kids do you want to have? Do you
I would say maybe two.
two? That's a good
Two.
number.
Yeah.
Like boy, girl, get it out of the way, right?
Yeah, I prefer boy girl. Sometimes I even think to myself, like, if I could just have twins,
Yeah.
boy girl, I'll be good.
Cool.
But
S-
we don't get to pick and choose, So as long as I have a healthy baby boy or girl, that's what matters.
Anything you want to personally talk about? Anything you're passionate about right now that you want to speak on, shed some light on?
I guess I've always wanted to just like be able to like do something positive. Just like I sometimes just think to myself and like all the things, like the feelings and emotions that I went through as a kid. And sometimes I felt like I had no one to talk to, or I just, I felt like no one could relate to me. So just like if I could just like, put that out there, or like, help others that probably felt the same way I felt, something like that. Something that I actually thought about that seems probably wild and crazy, but I've always wanted to like maybe write a book. Don't know, maybe like a life inspiring book or something.
Yeah.
Just like, to be able to help out like others. Yeah, that's something that's been on my mind
Yeah.
as
That
well.
yeah, I can relate to that because one of the reasons I started this podcast is because like obviously like it has to do with my little hobby of like sports and sports cars, right? But I also bring on people in the podcast so they could talk about their personal life because everybody has a story. Nobody has the same story, and a lot of times because they're different stories, they're still relatable. So that's one of the main reasons I like bringing on guests because not only am I able to relate with them or maybe give my differences on what they're speaking on because it's okay to disagree with something, right? So
Yeah.
I just feel like just through conversation somebody's gonna listen to this and be inspired to like want to do the same thing or just be like, you know what, Jasmine said this one thing that stood out and like they'll constantly go back to it, right? So I think it's great for you to write a book. I feel like when you write a book, because you're putting it down on words, it can become very inspiring because it's like you're pretty much writing down what you're thinking. It's not like you're just talking and kind of thinking from the top of your head. You're actually like putting some thought into it. It's kind of like a diary, a journal, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like you're writing a diary and just putting it out to the world. It's like this is me. So and you'll be surprised of how much people will relate to it, how much people will love your book, and it's kind of like when you have somebody coming up to you, it's like, oh, like your book inspired me to do this. That's like the best thing you could ever hear because that's the reason you write the book because you want to inspire, you want people to relate. So
Hmm.
I think that's great. I can definitely see you writing a book. You know, especially being that you like reading books, you have an idea of what a book should look like, right? So I definitely recommend to for you to pursue it. It just takes you starting to type it, right? Like just
Yeah.
getting just even if you put notes down and before you know it, you could take those notes and turn it into a book, right? So what okay, so let's talk a little bit about what that book will look like. Let me help you brainstorm a little bit, right? So so kind of like how you should view it is you like kind of write down the bullet points of what you want to talk about, right? So
Yeah.
like is there anything that comes to the top of your head that you're willing to share that you would want to write in this book?
Mm, maybe a bit of personal. like, for my personal life, I guess. Like, I guess the hardships
Mm-hmm.
and like how I overcame them, or like, what helped me get through it.
Mm-hmm.
Something that people can relate to, and they can feel like, oh, okay, well, like, this person went through this hardship and they were able to overcome it by doing this, this, that, and the third.
Mm-hmm.
So something along those lines, or just like, to be able to like, I don't know, first inspire people to like follow their dreams, because like I feel like nothing seems impossible.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like no matter what, like I always think to myself like, oh, I have like these ideas or like these dreams, and like sometimes I think to myself like, oh, they seem impossible.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what if I can't do it? But then I always, go back to just like even the little accomplishments in my life, like, oh, well, I graduated, that wasn't easy. Um, I managed to like continue pursuing my degree, and then like even just like getting my master's degree, um, that was something that for me it seemed like I would always think about, whoa, how am I gonna get my master's degree when I don't have that type of money,
Mm-hmm.
and it's something that always seemed impossible to me, but I'm currently pursuing my master's, and I'm actually almost done. So it's something that like I always try to go back to, like, oh, nothing is impossible in this life as long as you continue to push yourself, and just try not to give up. As it's not as easy as it sounds. Like, it's not,
Yeah. And
but
it's like there's no handbook to life, right? Like
yeah,
if there
no.
was a book to what, like, step by step what to do, everybody like will be a robot pretty much, right? So everybody
Yeah.
has their own career path, everybody has their own struggles, like, certain things you may go through that I didn't, but like it's still relatable. So I just feel like even if somebody's reading the book didn't experience what you experienced, it kind of prepares them, because what if they're in high school and they're reading this book, it's kind of like, oh, this could happen in college. So it's kind of
Hmm.
like it's getting them that head start, right? It's giving
Yeah.
them that information that you didn't have. So at least you have that satisfaction of like knowing that at least you told somebody like, hey, this is coming, get ready, like. And I feel like anything you think about in life is like that. Like, you're never truly prepared for anything in life. You just kind of go with the flow and just take I guess, your confidence and your skills and just apply it to it, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So,
Exactly.
hmm that I you know I think that's really cool. I really do think it's cool. I really do support you in writing that book. And
Thank
who
you.
knows, maybe down the line when you have a rough draft or you have something ready to be put out, you could definitely come back on, and even like we could just sit here and talk about your book. So
That would be awesome.
definitely take advantage of your spare time and just write. Just write,
Yes.
and once you have a bunch of stuff written down, then you know the rest. Just reach out to people, obviously, that can help you edit it and stuff like that. But I think that'd be really cool, for sure. So thank you for sharing that. That was really cool. I feel like writing a book in general is definitely a milestone, and it's something that's gonna stick around forever, right?
Yeah.
Definitely. So I want to thank you for coming on. Like I said, I definitely want you to come back at some point. Maybe down the line, you'll meet my co-host Alex. I'm sure he'll have some questions for you after watching this podcast. So maybe next time he can join us. Like I said, he has some family stuff going on, so he's okay to be dismissed for this one. But okay, so let's. You want to plug your Instagram? People will go follow you.
Okay, so it's underscore. Do I tell you, or like do I write it
Yeah,
somewhere?
you could spell it out. You could spell it out.
Okay, so it's underscore sincerely, and then Yaz, which is just YZ.
YZ. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, so make sure you guys add her. Let her know what you guys enjoy from the podcast today. And maybe give her some book ideas, right? But thank you for coming on. Thank you for, being an open book and willing to talk about everything. I think it was a great podcast. It was cool to do the one-on-one conversation, and it was really nice to hear from you, because it's been a while since high school, and that's kind of one of my coolest, like, that's one of the coolest things about the podcast, is just bringing on people that from my past, from high school, and just people who I grew up with, and just kind of like catch up with them, because it's like you don't get to stay in touch with everybody, and it's okay, because it's part of life, right? Like, it's part of adulting. You don't have time to stay in touch with every single person. Your circles get smaller. It's just naturally part of life, right? But definitely, I definitely want to stay in touch. Just keep following up with the progress you've made in life, and obviously after you write that book. So, but thank you for coming on, Jasmine. It was nice seeing
Thank you
you.
for having me.
Of course, and be safe, and you can continue to educate these kids. That's something that Alex always says when he's on the podcast. Like, that's the biggest thing. You want to make sure you educate these kids and prepare them for the future, because they are the future, right?
Yes.
So, so thank you guys for tuning in to Flip Talk Podcast, episode 7. It's your boy KUDOS, our guest Yasmin, and you guys have a great night. Peace.